ladies and gentlemen, I do want to introduce everyone to our distinguished panelists and our panel moderator, Victoria from Life Sciences. We will be discussing accelerating your drug discovery project with AI and breakthrough technology. And if I can just kindly request for everyone to mute, because there is a backdrop that I can hear an echo when other panelists are speaking. That way the audience is able to hear them. That'd be great. And in this panel, we have a lot of interesting people from various parts of the industry that are being representative, from service providers to biotech. So we'll start off the panel with a quick introduction of everyone, their company, and their background. We'll move on to the panel poll questions, and then we have lots of other great questions that are in the agenda for the next hour or so. So I guess starting with Victoria, if we can begin the introductions.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the interactive panel discussion today, which, as Sam said, is all about deep diving into drug discovery outsourcing in the new normal with AI and breakthrough technology. We're just going to give the panelists a few minutes each to introduce themselves to the audience before we dive into the topic of the day. I'd encourage anyone watching to put in some questions through the Q&A section over on your right, and we can try and address those questions during this session as well. So if I just start with the introductions before moving on to my panel colleagues. So I'm Vicky Stedman. I'm Senior Director Business Development at Life Sciences. So Life Sciences is a full-service global CRO and CDMO headquartered in India with sites in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You'll have heard my colleague Mark Bittinger's talk just now. And also Alderley Park in the UK, which focuses on early process R&D. We work with over 100 innovator companies to accelerate the discovery, development, and commercialization of their NCE small molecule programs. Next up, I'd like to ask Jonathan Ward. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Thanks, Vicky. My name is Jonathan Ward. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nanom Biologics. We are a drug discovery company with a focus on cardiovascular and cardiometabolic disease drug discovery and development. You may have also heard my colleague, Professor Krishnan, earlier on talking about our platform technologies. So we have 3 technologies essentially which are integrated into a platform comprising of a computational platform to identify genetic signatures or disease signatures, a transgenic technology where we're able to implement those signatures directly into animal or cell-based models, and what we believe is the world's most advanced cardiac organoid, which is really like a little human heart on a dish. Fantastic for drug screening, for identifying and de-risking cardiovascular assets, and identifying cardiotoxic effects. So pleased to meet you. Hope I can add to the conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, Jonathan. Kjell, I mean, we heard your talk earlier today, but if you could reintroduce yourselves to those who may have missed it, please.
It looks like you are muted, Dr. Kjell.
Okay, now I'm back again. Thank you for inviting me. I have a large pharma background and also a biotech background. I work with Notes Advisors in Zurich. We help biotech companies be investment ready. We help them with doing the right trials, the right studies, hopefully, advise them at least in doing that. We also help them with capital. The interest we have in AI is mirrored by the initiative we have taken recently to set up a collaboration structure, and let's say let's learn together structure, coordinated from nodes. And we start out with Switzerland, and we are want to expand that to be a very fruitful discussion forum and a community where we can make advancement in AI. I'm a great fan of outsourcing. I've been at AstraZeneca. I was managing the strategic alliance work between AstraZeneca and and different service providers and researchers worldwide. I think that's the way it should be done. I never had an office since 2005 because everything has been virtual since then. I've been at home, like in the COVID situation, for quite some time, so it doesn't really matter to me because of the way that we work. And I love to make good discoveries, and I'm very happy to join the panel and see how it works. Thanks.
Thank you, Kjell. Claire, can I ask you to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, thanks, Vicky. So my name's Claire Jones, and I'm the CSO at Talisman Therapeutics. I've got a background in neuroscience from small and large molecule drug discovery. So I spent 4 years at AstraZeneca, 6 years at MedImmune before joining Talisman about 4.5 years ago. At Talisman, we use human stem cell derived models of neurodegenerative disease. And these are available for supporting drug discovery projects on a fee-for-service basis. We also have some internal projects ongoing. But really what our aims are to continually develop the best, most translational, most robust, most relevant systems to support really complex biology questions. We particularly focus on stem cell models where we're using patient-derived stem cells with mutations that are causal for disease, where we can actually study the mechanistic cellular dysfunction that is present in those cells, and which you can also track all the way through to the clinic. And we use these models to better understand the disease processes and to help our collaborators understand more about the ways that their molecules are working. I'm also, just to do a plug, I'm speaking tomorrow at, I think, 10 o'clock in the morning, so you can hear more about it then. But I'm looking forward to the discussion. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Mariana, can you introduce yourself, please?
I can. Hello, everybody. I'm Marina Basqueto. I'm the head of European operations and also Asia Pacific operations for collaborative drug discovery. And I think I come from the other side. Most of you, or many of you, come from the CRO or the biotech side. I come from the software side. So at collaborative drug discovery, we provide a platform to manage, analyze, and keep safe all your chemistry and biological data. The idea is mainly research data, of course. The idea is that using CDD Vault, you can easily collaborate in a secure way with partners locally or remotely. CDD Vault has been around for 17 years. It's a very modern technology. It's designed for to be used almost immediately. You implement it, and within 90 minutes, you're using the system productively. So it's ideal for small companies and also for large companies that want to collaborate. So we have offices, the company is headquartered in San Francisco, and we have offices in Cambridge and all over the world. And and I am a great believer in clean data, in having well-organized data from the very beginning of the company, because you need it if you're going to do any AI. Looking forward. First, I want to thanks for inviting me, and looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Michael, can you introduce yourself, please?
It looks like you're muted, Michael.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Still muted. Just at the bottom, beside your camera icon, there's the mic.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. I worked in Sun Pharma for 11 years as a project leader in medicinal chemistry unit. Our company is still growing Polish pharmaceutical company where the innovative projects are developing, and 5 projects are undergoing clinical trials. Our drug candidates are the small molecule compounds designed by the structure-activity relationship and molecular modeling methods. I conduct one more advanced inflammatory project of the dual kinase inhibitor. The compound has proven effect on rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. We are also on the best way to confirm the pulmonary antifibrotic activity for this compound, which can be very important in the current period of number of side effects after COVID-19. We didn't collaborate in provider of any platforms like you presented before, but I hope in the future it will be possible in our company. So I hope we can join for the collaboration in the future. Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Yasha, can I ask you to introduce us?
Yes, I hope you can hear me now. Well, first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me and letting me be part of this panel discussion. My name is Yasha Global. I'm the CEO of Molomics. Molomics is a small molecule drug design company which is developing drugs for Parkinson's disease. We do our drug discovery with our own AI technology. And basically what this AI technology allows is it empowers experts with artificial intelligence. So just to give you a little idea about this, what I mean with that is I started working in the drug discovery industry about 10 years ago. I was working for a service provider who was working in computational approaches, and basically in the more than 25 projects where I was luckily participating, we saw that there is a difficulty in really bringing the experts and the artificial intelligence together. This starts from levels what CDD does, basically the collaboration possibility, but goes further into that. So with this idea, we created Molomics about 5 years ago, and now we are designing our own drugs. And what our technology basically does, it really allows experts from all over the world to design molecules in real time together and use all types of AI predictions and other approaches. Just briefly to myself, I have a scientific background, mainly in structural biology, where I use X-ray data and other types of structural data and interpreted those with computational approaches.
Thank you, Yasha. And last but not least, Carla.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. I'm a medicinal chemist at Nanom Incorporated, which is headquartered in San Diego. I have about 20 years of experience leading medchem programs in both academia and industry. Nanom is a virtual reality drug discovery company. I think we are pretty much the leader and pioneer in that field. Our main clients include structural biologists, med chemists, and computational chemists, and we focus on helping our customers advance their hit to lead process and also get compounds into the clinic. So definitely AI and machine-based learning background there.
Thank you very much. So I think that completes the round of introductions. So we'll kick off with the discussions. So I think it's very clear that adoption of AI technologies is in discovery. What does success look like for AI and machine learning in drug discovery for the panel? I'll kick off with Yasha, if you don't mind, and please share your.
Sorry, I had a little bit problems understanding all what you said, but I imagine you were speaking about what possibilities AI brings to drug discovery. So generally speaking, I think we want to, first of all, make the drug discovery process more effective, meaning that we need to go through less experimental testing and have better success chances than in the clinical phase. But next to this, next to the idea of optimizing processes, I guess it can also open the possibility to completely new treatment and approaches. In any case, AI is one of the, or also computational approaches, they are just one tool in the whole box of the scientists, and to help to make this drug discovery process a success.
Thank you. Mariana, what does success look like in machine learning and AI for CDD Vault and your customers?
I would say there are two aspects of it, right? I think it's tough. I would like to think around I always come back to the data, right? So you really need that clean data, that clean base, and that organized data to do good machine learning and good AI. So we have seen a lot, not just, we have, I just want to clarify that we have CDD Vault and an additional product called BioHarmony and BioHarmony Annotator. BioHarmony Annotator is effectively an annotator for assays. Not just the actual assay, but the assay protocol. So and we have seen a lot of confusion in the space in terms of the data that come from printer assays. Unless the assays are harmonized and the data is verified, you cannot really drive good conclusions out of it. So I come back to basics and said, companies that have a lot of success has a lot of very well verified, very well harmonized data from the very beginning. So that's probably the point that I want to take home. And I would say from the very beginning of you setting up the company, or even large companies going back and looking at their own very messy data, I think that organization and clean up the data in order to take it up to the next level, I think is necessary. I think that's what probably I want to say to the point. And how what it means to be, what it means in terms of success. Yeah, I think it's speak by themselves, right? It's clear. Each company has different parameters for success, and we are here just to support that. That's it. Really.
Thanks, Mariana. Kjell, can you chip in on this topic?
It looks like you're muted, Kel. Sorry, Dr. Kel, it looks like you're still.
Sorry, I get too excited. Sorry for that. I was just saying that in the early 1990s at AstraZeneca, we tried the first stumbling step in artificial intelligence in discovery, and trying to make use of the data we had in a sensible way But as Mariana pointed out, it was not clean data. It was not selected tests. It was nothing, and it turned out into absolutely nothing. So it has to be organized very systematically, and it has to be looked upon and analyzed by people who really know their business, both software-wise and also medicinal chemistry and biology-wise. It's very important to have the human element, not to go astray. That's my point of view. But I think that there's enormous possibilities, and my dream to the team is to be able to have AI gapping, taking into account both the structural data, both the interaction with target molecules, also stability and distribution patterns and parameters to really increasing the probability that the drug not only works in animal models, but will work in a clinical setting. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jonathan, would you like to chip in?
Thank you. So, I mean, I think AI and computational sciences is very exciting, but there really needs to be this couple with the biological validation. I think otherwise, data for the sake of data isn't going to get us anywhere. But I think there's been some big advances, and then things are getting faster and faster, and it's quite exciting how this interface between biology and computational and chemistry all coming together. So I think there's a lot of opportunities now, more so than maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But again, I think what was it Mariana that mentioned about the quality of the data, having good, clean data is super important, and being able to have a biological assay to validate that data will enable us, I think, to really push forward in bringing new therapies into the fore. So that's quite exciting, I think.
Carla, over to you.
Thank you. So, our main goal is to help save our customers time and money and really increase the efficiency in the drug discovery process. And, obviously we're a leader in 3D visualization, pretty much peerless, which has really enabled people to be able to see their interactions and stand inside of a pocket, see the vectors where they need to go in terms of just designing their next lead molecule. But we're also trying to, develop some new tools like an in-app web browser that allow us to integrate, some of the structure activity relationship tools like CDD Vault, for example, that people use to help guide them in their drug discovery process as well. So, definitely very data-driven. And, we're not just a visualization tool. We also have, a lot of other functionality and calculation capability as well.
Michael?
Okay, me as a chemist, I prefer to make chemistry in the lab and then confirm the activity of the compounds with any model which we can provide by the AI. I like chemists who didn't collaborate with providers of any platforms. As I said, I wonder how our methods of the new drug candidate learning or searching is also the good methods as well as AI. So I hope that in the future I will be able to compare these two methodologies.
Thank you. Claire, anything to add?
I mean, I think I would echo what the other panelists have said, really. And I mean, ultimately, for me, the kind of success of AI will be based on whether or not there are new therapies in the clinic that were really enabled because of AI. So whether that's new therapeutics, repurposing of old therapeutics, new combinations, ultimately that will be the kind of big success for AI. On a kind of smaller scale, I totally agree with the various panelists who pointed out that the quality of data is really important, making sure that it's not all computers, that you've got biologists and chemists really in the mix, curating the data, making sure that it's really clean, asking the right questions. And then, obviously I'm biased because I work in complex model systems, but I think having the best systems and the most translational systems that you can find and you can develop to test those hypotheses will hopefully kind of lead us to Kjell's dream of having a system that involves AI and enables us to develop new therapeutics that are actually going to get to the clinic and make a difference to people. I'm optimistic.
Thank you, Claire. So I think one element that's come forward within the kind of medicinal chemistry type of drug discovery is that the machine learning element complements rather than replaces the traditional medicinal chemist. What do you think builds trust in project teams between the drug hunter, medicinal chemists, and the machine learning engineers? And clearly, a successful project outcome would do wonders to build that trust. Yasha, would you like to start on that one?
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, I think that's a very important point. That's also kind of hitting on Molomic's objectives, right? To have experts collaborate in direct drug design. And basically, from our experience, what we have seen is that the key at our organization is the sharing of data and information. So in this way, if all the data and all the ideas, the drug design ideas, which a medicinal chemist have, as well as a computational chemist, if they are all shared amongst the whole team, and everybody has the same possibility to really advance a structure in the computer to in silico to a better candidate. And then eventually you also can then take the decision much better in a collaborative way, because if everybody knows what the different predictions are, the different outcomes of the analysis, is it from a medicinal chemist or does it come from docking or whatsoever? If this is all shared, then the best consensus decision taking can take place, which eventually will select the molecules for experimental testing. So our take on that is clearly sharing data and having the whole team on the same level.
Great points, Joshua. Carla, would you like to address that point?
Sure. So one of Nanom's key strengths is collaboration. Entire project teams can meet together in VR. Machine learning can track a medicinal chemist's decision-making process over the course of a project. So that, obviously that and also integrating, high-quality data is going to yield better results and more reliable results that give you more confidence to use the product. So, yeah, I think, it's definitely a process for better decision-making.
Kjell, do you want to comment on this point?
Yes, I would love to. It's my personal experience that the software developers usually do their work well, but they need very specific instructions. The biologist and the medicinal chemist have to do the homework and to put forward, let's say, a very specified question, a specified task, and provide as much background information on structures, on functions or concept that you can ever bring forward. So the more we can, coming from drug discovery, some biology side, if you put a bad question, a bad task, you will never get a good result. If you know what you're doing and you ask the right questions, I'm very, very confident that it will work well with a lot of software companies. Thanks.
Thank you. Mariana?
Well, I'm super happy. Everybody's talking about collaboration, right? Collaboration is in the name of our company, Collaborative Drug Discovery. So yes, I think collaboration is the key, and I agree, and I also agree that asking the right questions is important. Ultimately, you want to shorten that time to the discovery path, and the only way to do that is with the good work, the collaborative work between the engineers, the software engineers, or the computational chemists, and the experimentalist, mediums or biologists. It just is an iterative process, it's a collaborative process. It's not a one person with all. It's very interesting. While you were talking, I was thinking that we were doing a lot of computational chemistry, and many of the models, some models that are used now as base of the artificial intelligence algorithms were, I'm a computational chemist myself, so we were using it 20 years ago, and all of a sudden there was this kind of renaissance of artificial intelligence fueled by all sorts of new technologies. And it's so nice to see that many of our work wasn't just a pipe dream, but it's actually a reality today. Really nice, actually. Yeah, sorry, I digress, as always. But yes, come back to collaboration is the key.
Thanks, Mariana. Jonathan, do you want to address that point?
Yes, so certainly, I think I echo a little bit about what Dr. Keel said about about collaborating with chemists and biologists. I think this is really part of drug discovery, and you can't escape it. I don't think that even the best computational platforms are not going to get rid of biologists and chemists. I just don't see that happening. I think there is a certain skill set and a certain competency with computational scientists, which is great, but there still needs to be that interaction with the biologists, with the chemists, to have that knowledge, that structure, or knowledge, that the genetic knowledge, whatever it is, and be able to make sense of the data that you're getting. I don't think I still can't see at the moment or in the next few years computational systems becoming so smart that they can really interpret the data. I think they're very good at running the data that we put in, but again, it's a bit of that question of or what do you put into the system, you get out. So you put in good data, you get sort of good results, but there still needs to be a human element and an expertise element to reviewing that data and making sense of it. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you. Michael, do you want to comment?
Okay, I like the things that was said before, that sharing of the results are important for the project, for the team. But I think that sharing of the results between all teams in the company is very important to go further with the projects. As well for the good results, as well as for the problems with the projects on each stage, because the experience of each scientist is important for the project development. So I prefer to have contact in each stage of the project, even if I have no decision. I'm not the mate. I cannot make a decision on each stage, but the knowledge of the each step is very important for me, like a project leader in medicinal chemistry. But also, I think it's important for the whole project. Yeah.
Strong theme of collaboration coming out here. Claire, any points on this topic?
I'll just say collaboration again. I think, what everyone else has said, I think building trust within any team is all about collaboration, communication, setting shared goals and expectations, and then just working really well together with clear communication. So that would be my take on it.
Thank you. So AI and machine learning is still evolving, and for smaller companies in particular, they may not have internal expertise in this area, but may be intrigued as to what AI and machine learning could do for them. So, what does the panel think about how external partnerships can be used to collaborate between companies with breakthrough technologies and AI? And if I start this time with Michael, could you comment on this topic?
Okay, collaboration between companies is important when the company has not the experience in any area. For us, it's important when we have no possibility to make any analysis or modeling as well. So we are looking for the any solutions, but in most cases we are looking for the indoor solutions. We try to learn as much as we can.
Thank you. How about Carla?
So, we definitely rely quite a bit on our customers' feedback, especially from big pharma, to help design our product. So I think that, in terms of collaboration with them, having regular meetings with them telling us what their needs are, certainly helps us improve. And it's definitely an iterative process.
Jonathan?
Yes, I agree. Something similar. I think as a small company, if you don't have the competencies to do it, working in partnership is definitely the way to go. And we've set up certain expertise that we can provide to support to people who don't necessarily have their own computational platform or would like to interrogate the output of their computational platform in the biology setting. So I think there's certainly some room there. When it comes to the big pharma collaborations, this is obviously quite exciting for us as a small company, but it's much more of a collaboration than a service. Let's say it's we need the pharma feedback. We need them to sort of tell us what they want out of this as well, because their readouts might be different to ours. They might have certain different processes. So it's good to understand that and to make it more collaborative, so that we can set the certain agree what kind of readouts we want, what we're going to do with that. Are they going to go into the biological assays? What kind of assays? And getting the respective experts on board to guide that process.
Thank you. Kjell?
Yeah, I favor the idea of collaboration tremendously, close to my heart. My ideal company would be a company with just a few people knowledgeable in drug discovery and development, and they have a vision, and they really know what they have and how they want to get and what they want to get out of the project or the company, and then find collaborators worldwide. Especially nowadays with video meetings, you don't have to travel that much. And every time you add a new collaborator, you learn something. A new company with a new technology, a new individual with some experience. And if you're adding up, let's say 50 or 70 people, collective experience in an area to one company in a systematic way, you really, really outperform most companies, even sometimes even larger companies, large pharmas that have a more static system in their mode of operation. Thanks.
Yasha?
I guess amongst one of your questions you had posted, Vicky, was that why should a company choose an AI company for collaboration? And in this sense, what I think, and that goes basically line with what the other people said, is first of all, the company needs to know what's the necessity, and then the question is, can this necessity be covered by some AI approach, or maybe an experimental approach, or another approach is better. So whether choosing to collaborate with an AI company, I think that's really based on the different necessities you have. I can give you two examples from our design part. So let's say the AI medicinal chemists, although we collaborate with medicinal chemists who interact in our platform with us from all over the world and help us in the drug design process. But then what kind of collaborations we have? We have, for example, in case of two projects, they focus on different targets. So in one case, we established a collaboration with an AI technology company because they were very good in target identification, and we needed a good target. So now we're doing with them a project together. They have identified the target, and we do now the follow-up work where we design the chemical matter. That's an example where even two AI companies can collaborate greatly, because I think every company needs to have nowadays their expertise and really focus on one point, which then goes also line in line with what Kjell was saying. Then the other example of collaboration is that we had chosen a target we wanted to go after because we know it's important for Parkinson's disease. And then we looked throughout the world for an experimental provider who can actually do a special screen with this target. And we found basically one company who had a publication in Nature with an interesting screen, and we ended up collaborating with them on the drug discovery project. In any case, next to that, of course, you need a lot of other external collaborators, and especially the CROs, so SI, or who we also worked with, great synthesis partner, by the way. And so that's how you have to build up your team, and you need the best of the.
Mariana, I guess it comes down to the data with you.
Always. No, but I found that very interesting because we can see it from the both sides, right? From the AI companies and from the CROs, and also pharmas and biotechs. And basically the AI companies are always looking for a good partner to progress their projects. I'm thinking of, for instance, Standime, bunch of companies that they have very good experimental partners to progress their projects. And on the other side, biotechs that are looking for AI companies to accelerate the drug discovery process. So it comes down to a good collaboration, a good collaborative environment. It comes down to people at the end, having the good chemistry between the people that are working together and build great communication amongst themselves. And it somehow comes to me when you were talking as an example of projects that are very successful. That is a combination of AI people and experimental people. The COVID moonshot. I don't know if you heard of that, but this started with a quick conversation between when COVID started with the post-Terra guys, and it was a bunch of the Oxford University, of course, the Diamond guys, Frank von Delft, the Med Chemical teams. They kind of met in a conference. They were in a conference when the COVID happened, and when the as soon as the first M-plot sequence was done, they decided to go for it and kind of crowdsource ideas and using artificial intelligence from Frank von der Fluff and Postera, plus experimental from Diamond and a bunch of labs around the world, including SIDE, I believe. So they managed to get to candidate in less than 18 months. So it's impressive, really, and it's impressive when more than 100 people coming from different backgrounds put their heads together can achieve. So yeah, I think that speaks volumes to the mixture.
Thank you, Mariana. I think that's a very good into the second part of today's discussion, which is around the new normal and how companies are embracing new technologies, including AI, to be able to work with partners, in particular outsourcing partners in this new normal. And I can certainly comment at the way that Sci Life Sciences has adopted new technologies. And one of the things we offer is live virtual tours to prospective customers now. So we have chemists or biologists with head-mounted cameras walking around our labs with a narration by senior scientists. We call them cyborgs, by the way, our little joke. But that has been extremely effective in actually showing people our facilities, our capabilities, our equipment, and our teams in a way that we had not thought of, to be honest, before COVID. People would come and travel to our sites to view the facilities and meet the teams. And with that no longer being possible, then this new way of interacting has come forward. And it's certainly something that we will continue to do alongside real-time site visits going forward. So moving to other members of the panel, Claire, do you want to comment on how the new normal has been embraced by Talisman?
Yeah, thanks, Vicky. So we don't have cyborgs. I'm a bit sad. Maybe we should. So at Talisman, we do stem cell models of neurodegenerative disease. It's the majority of the work is very lab focused, and that can't be done remotely. So actually, although where possible, particularly during lockdowns, we had people working at home. What we've done is try and adapt to the new normal with social distancing and changes to the way we work, but still having particularly the lab-based team coming in. And as far as possible, having the team coming in at normal working hours. Now, at times we have sort of separated out and tried to reduce numbers in the lab. But I think really a lot of what we've done is just trying to spread people out, use Slack as a technology system. We've been on Zoom like everybody else. Some of these things we'll definitely keep because I think we've obviously reduced face-to-face meetings as have the rest of the world. And we found that actually probably some of those face-to-face meetings work just as well on Zoom. Some of them don't. So I think that will be a balance that we kind of work on as we go forward. But broadly speaking, the main things that we've instituted are quite sort of basic, if you like, and it's spreading people out, having people wearing masks, a one-way system in the lab. And I think we've actually been quite lucky that we've had the space to kind of spread people out. And I guess kind of one sort of general reflection on whether or not that in hindsight, whether it would have been better to have more people at home. Actually, I think one of the things we found early on when we had to be kind of more locked down was that the team really value face-to-face interactions, even if it's behind a mask. And that actually there is an amount of work obviously lab work has to be done in the lab and you can't get away from that. But actually having the team physically in the same location and able to interact is really important for the work that we do, because we work very much in teams. And although some of that can be done virtually, some of it is just more efficient if people are in the same place. So, I mean, I guess I'd be interested to hear what the other panelists think, but we've certainly found that it's really valuable to try and keep people in. I mean, for our own mental health as well, I think. But try and keep people in, try and keep people engaged and busy as well. I mean, I think it really struck home that work is a really important part of our lives, and, you know, our work team is a really important part of our social interaction. So I think we've gained quite a lot of understanding as a team and how we work, and a real desire to just make sure that we can all, where possible, actually be together and delivering on the projects. That's it for now.
Thank you. Jonathan, how is the new normal at Genome Biologics?
For us, for Genome Biologics, I think it's certainly an adjustment. I would say we probably achieved more in the last year than we have in all the years before that. Just simply being more efficient, making most of the time that we had, making most of the resources we had. We're lucky to be on a hospital campus, so we were able to keep the labs open throughout the COVID, and although we had to reduce the staff who were physically here, we were really able to continue doing our screens, doing our research. Obviously, having the computational people and others who don't need to be in the lab, that was fine, and they could work from home as normal. I like the idea about having these virtual tools, and I think that's a great idea. But we didn't do anything like that. I think we've actually just gone on and had lots more calls online, lots more meetings, and and we managed to sort of get through the worst of it and actually achieve more than we ever achieved in this last year. As I say, with the number of patents that we've issued, the number of projects that we've got, it's just it's gone crazy. And I think that shows as well that there's you're not limited in terms of your geographical location. As long as you have a good team and you have a good internet connection, you can pretty much do most things, and this is really physical lab work. But everything else it's possible to do it remotely nowadays. So it's been a great learning experience for us all, I think.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Kel, what's your experience been?
I don't work. We don't have any labs, no supervisors, but we meet a lot of people, and it doesn't really have much change after COVID. It's we have a few people in China, a few people in the US, the main staff in Zurich. I work out of Stockholm. I've been working with them for 18 months. I haven't met any one of them in person so far. It works well. I think everyone is happy. And it's impossible to really travel that much. And I was, my previous life in AstraZeneca, I was managing collaborations. I was traveling all the time. It isn't really fun. After a few years, you get a bit tired and you feel a bit inefficient, like you said. It's something that you can be more productive if you have a coherent contact over the video with exchanging documents and exchanging views and opinions. I think that works wonderfully well with most people. Some people complain, as they comment at least, about the lack of social environment. It's a bit lonely sometimes to work from home, but it hasn't so far affected work and performance. So in a nutshell, for us, it doesn't really matter.
Michael, how's your new normal panning out?
Hello? Did you ask me?
Yes, Michael, yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay. Luckily, our company we had possibility to change our research and development labs, and now we have few times larger labs, so we could separate each team in the different separate lab, but we lost the direct connection to the different projects. So we prefer to work together, even between teams. But now, as I said, luckily we could separate. But in the labs for the chemists, for the biologists, it's not the very good, because we cannot give another team any clues in the projects. So we prefer to work together. So virtual meetings are not the same like the face-to-face meetings. We try to do it, meetings very a lot of them. So I hope that this situation will finish very soon, and we will be able to back to the normal contacts in the company.
I agree with you there.
I hope you can hear me. My connection is sometimes a little bit up and down, but in general, I don't have a lot to add to the other people. In our cases, we are doing a lot of computational work. We can do a lot of things remotely, and just what we have realized is that the teamwork and the team spirit has been suffering below the separation, meaning that there's no social contact. And I wouldn't say that's only because we are Southern people, or I'm actually a Northern person, but the company is in Spain. So social interaction is for sure important. But yeah, it's also very important, I think, for the mental health that that specialists and experts can also exchange their ideas and views, and then also interest.
Thank you. Mariana, how's the new normal at CDD Vault?
Yeah, we were very geared towards working remotely. So it was, I mean, of course, it was a bit of a big shock, but I think we adapted very quickly and well. I personally miss the interaction with seeing people face to face, especially not, of course, the team and also the customers, because you learn so much by talking to them, what they are doing, etc. And sometimes you learn it when they tell it to you in a conference call, but also over a coffee, right? Over a coffee, you learn much more of the intricacies of what they are doing. So I miss that. I miss the chats over a coffee. But, they will come back soon. I'm an optimist.
Carla, any comments?
Sure. So, well, Nanom was uniquely poised to adapt to the new normal. I mean, we have a more secure platform than Zoom does, for example, and many of the other web video conferencing platforms in order to protect our customers' IP and things like that. But really, the big feature of Nanom is that everyone meets together in a room in virtual reality. So you're really standing right next to your colleagues, and it's as if you were in a conference room with them physically. So you don't miss all of, those kinds of interactions that you do through video conferencing, for example. So, it is a very different type of platform, and you get all of those, reactions and interactions that, you would normally have if you were in a project team meeting, for example. So, so in terms of the new normal, I think, we really were able to adapt quite quickly, and people really love the technology for that. It's a strength.
Great, thank you. One of the topics is, I guess, establishing new collaborations and new relationships in the new normal has been very different. And I can talk from experience. I mean, I joined Sci Life Sciences a year ago during the pandemic. I still haven't met my boss, for example. Many of my new customers I've not met face to face. So it has been very different in terms of establishing relationships, both internally and externally, than before. So in particular for companies that do outsource, how has your vetting procedures for new outsource providers changed during this COVID period? Claire, can I ask you to start on this one?
I'm going to give you the flip side. So we are outsourced to rather than outsourcing. But if you will accept that viewpoint, I would say in some ways it hasn't changed hugely, in the sense that, we work with a whole mixture of large pharma, small biotech, local and international, and particularly the international collaborators. Actually, we wouldn't necessarily meet with them face to face anyway. So we're now more geared up to doing video conferences than we were before. So actually, if anything, we're better placed now to have those interactions. I think we have missed out on meeting kind of smaller biotechs and local collaborators where ordinarily we would just meet face to face. So I think we've missed a little bit then. Actually, the main thing we've noticed is that companies are outsourcing a lot more. And I think that's a mixture of COVID impacting companies' abilities to generate data internally. We've also, I think, benefited from the aducanumab amyloid antibody approval as well, which has given us a bit of a boost to neuroscience research and investment generally. So actually, one of the things we've noticed is that we have more people coming to us, wanting to talk to us. And there is less of an assumption that we will have availability instantly, because I think companies that are outsourcing a lot of their work are finding that, particularly for, I think particularly in vivo studies, but actually across the board biology services, they're finding that they're being told there's a huge waiting list. And I think people historically, I mean, it may have been the case that actually there was a bit of a lag time and we wouldn't be able to run projects instantly, but there was almost an assumption that we would be able to. Whereas I've seen a definite shift where companies are coming to us kind of asking whether or not that we could fit them in even in the next year. And thankfully the answer is yes at the moment. So I think there has been a shift in the volume of work that's being outsourced, and the approach that companies are taking. I probably can't really speak to the vetting procedure because we kind of see the reverse side of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jonathan, for your collaborations, either being vetted or vetting yourselves, has this process changed because of the COVID situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's certainly, not so easy for you to go and visit suppliers and things like that you would have done in the a year ago or so. So it's been a bit challenging, and on the flip side as well, with our collaborations of, to initiate a new collaboration when the collaborator hasn't been to your lab and hasn't seen what you're doing. It's I guess a bit of a leap of faith for them as well, but I think this works in both ways, and you've seen, for instance, the investment community investing still into companies without even meeting the founders, without meeting the staff, going to the lab. There's a certain amount of trust and credibility that you build with your career, with your company, and hopefully that rubs off. And at the moment, it seems to be working. We're still able to do those collaborations and still working with outsourcing our work as well. Some of our work gets outsourced. Especially the chemistry stuff, but again, that's really working on the back of good reputation, working with people that we know or we know of, and likewise we try to instill the same confidence in our partners that they even if they haven't worked with us before, they know they know people who have worked with us. They can get the references, they can talk to others and see what their experiences were working with us, and that should give them some confidence. But I mean, ultimately it's a bit of a leap of faith, I suppose, but it seems to work.
I think you're right. I think the contacts and references and your network have been, really come to the fore more so than ever during this period. Michael, have you been engaged in either having new collaborators work with you or establishing a new relationship during this period?
Yeah, I hope to collaborate in new contacts with new method, new companies. I think that the collaboration and outsourcing is very important on early stages of the project. So starting from the first step of medicinal chemistry, from the target validation and new libraries preparation, it will be very important for us. So the collaboration in this stage is important. We are also plan to looking for a new targets, biological targets, and maybe the searching by the libraries, compound libraries will be important for us in the nearest future. So I hope we will be able to collaborate in this area very soon.
Thank you. Kjell, any thoughts on this topic?
It's very simple. I've been in this business for quite some time. I have a good network. People know me, and I don't see any difficulties in contacting them again. It's much easier. So I haven't suffered at all.
Thank you. Mariana?
It's an interesting position. If you accept our position, we see it from the rafters, really, because we see people adopting the technology and trying to kind of scramble and to collaborate. I mean, the kind of the COVID was a wake-up shot for a lot of people, and that realized that they needed technology to collaborate and to work virtually. So it was very interesting to see that kind of peak of adoption of new systems and new technologies to enable this new normal. Yeah, we see it a lot.
Carla, any comment?
Well, as a drug discovery software development company, we don't outsource too much ourselves. And, our primary focus is to engage people to, evaluate our product and incorporate it into their programs. However, we do actually offer a subset of services, such as preparing workspaces for presentations for customers, things like that. Offering them insights if they're willing to, engage in a CDA with us, for example. So those sorts of things I think probably are a little bit delayed, more from the customer end, because if people are trying to get back into the office and things like that, and coordinating those working remotely and those working on site, so that aspect of it has been a little bit delayed.
Pretty much at time, so I think if I would like to obviously thank all the panelists for joining us in this discussion, and Sam for organising. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you as well. Been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.